Today, we're making a patch from scratch. We're going to do an ambient, generative, semi-generative patch using the Moog Mother 32. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Songs from Scratch. So this is continuing off the last episode we did in which we used the DFAM, the Moog DFAM, to create a kind of drone. And the drone's going to is kind of our bedrock for the song we're going to create. And like I said in the last episode, we're going to break these up into semi-modular chunks, focusing on the specific gear I'm using as we progress through the song. So you can watch just one episode, and if you want to focus in on what I'm doing on one specific piece of gear, or you can watch them all in sequence if you want to see how the song's all going to progress. So I'll post a link up in the corner there of the first part where we created our drone, but let's just sample it really quick so you can hear what we created in the last episode. So we just got, a nice cool little drone here that we'll be able to play with the cutoff. We can add different parts to get different sounds. It's mostly just a sound design kind of effect. It's nothing too, distracting or anything like that. We could bring it in really low and just have it humming in the background. But basically we want to build something on top of this. And now, I was thinking originally that I wanted to do kind of an ambient kind of drone thing and explore the Moogs and see what we can do to get there. I do plan on moving over to the Deluge at some point where we'll kind of give the song a little more structure, because right now, obviously, it's pretty abstract. We don't even have a key. We don't even know what we're working in. So that's kind of what we're going to try to dial in on the Moog Mother 32 today. I think what I'd like to do to complement this drone is to make some kind of generative or semi-generative patch that's kind of a little random, add some randomness, but it's playing something in key, hopefully. We're going to try a couple different things. We're going to explore what the Mother 32 can do. If you don't know what the Mother 32 is, it's a semi-modular analog synth from Moog. It's a single oscillator. You can either use a pulse wave or a saw wave. If you think of that classic Moog sound, you can pretty much get it from this synth. Like, the reason I got it is because I find when I'm working on the Deluge, a lot of times for bass specifically, I almost always go to my Moog samples. I just love the sound of their bass, and so I had to get this. And also for leads, I mean, you can get some crazy leads. It's got a sequencer, which we'll probably be exploring today. I still kind of like to sequence it on the Deluge. I can. It's got MIDI in, so I can just write my sequence. I just like the visual nature of the Deluge synth. I'm still pretty new to this one, but it does have some tricks up its sleeve that kind of lend itself to what we're doing today. So I might find that I'll just use the internal sequencer. I don't know. Let's see what we can do. You'll see a couple patches here. These aren't relevant to what we're creating on the Mother 32. All I'm doing is I'm just sending its tempo into the LFO rate so that the LFO is synced to whatever our tempo is here on the Mother 32, whether that's because we're sending MIDI or another signal, but in any case, it just kind of ties the LFO to the tempo, and I'm sending that LFO to the DFAM at the moment. So these patches actually don't have anything to do with what we're doing right here, right now. So I'm starting with a saw wave, and there's a couple different ways we can go about trying to create something semi-generative or generative, entirely generative. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a pattern. Okay, this is one that's blank. I'm going to clear the pattern just to make sure that it's empty, and then I'm going to run. All right, so that tells me that we don't have anything currently in here. It's just running on a single note. There's no sequence programmed in. So one way that we can try to get something kind of semi-generative is we can actually patch the assign, which is, explaining the assign is a little tricky, but in most cases, this is sending out a signal from the sequencer. So it's most often used to set the tempo to connect the other two pieces of gear. So whatever tempo I have here, it's going to send to here. But you can actually change what the assign function does. So what we're going to do is I'm going to send the assign to the VCO1 octave. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into settings, and I'm actually going to switch it. I think it's 8. Let's see if that works. And what that's going to do is instead of playing the sequence normal, it's just going to send random pulses of CV to, I put that in the wrong one, to the oscillator. And that should create a generative, completely generative patch. It's just going to, there you go. So this is one way we could create something generative. Let's see what it sounds like with our drone real quick. I mean, obviously we'd want to shape the sound a bit. Maybe add the elbow. So, I mean, that's about as generative as it gets. It's completely random. It's just sending random pulses. Now, the thing that I think I probably don't like about that is I like to have a little more control. I like to have a little more control over what notes are being played. Now, I don't want to program in a precise sequence so much, but I do want to have it be in a key so that I can create other pieces that create a little more stability within the track. So for now, I'm going to take that off. We don't want to do that. Put it back in the LFO rate for now. So I think we're going to try a different approach. The way I want to do this is, let's get out of the settings. First thing I'm going to do is, let's go to keyboard mode. So now I've set it to keyboard mode, and when you set it to keyboard mode, basically whatever notes I play in, it's going to when I set it up to record, it's just going to record those notes in whatever order I play them into the sequencer. And I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to pick a key. Let's do C minor, and I'm going to program in all the notes in the scale of C minor. I'll probably do a couple octaves, maybe 2 or 3 different octaves. We'll see how it goes. And I'll also program in some rests and some accents. And then I'll set it to play the sequence random so that at least all the notes that are being selected are within a key of a song. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's just hop in. So I'm going to set it to keyboard mode. I think I already did that. And then I'm going to, let's do 3 octaves and see how that plays out. And then I'll also do some rests so it doesn't always pick a note when it randomly picks. Sometimes it'll pick up just a straight up break. So, all right, we're gonna say shift and record. And now it's in record mode. So right now I'm in the 3rd octave. So let's see what we're gonna do here. I'm just gonna program in the notes kind of randomly. I'm going to give this one an accent because it's my root note. Let's do D, and then we'll do a rest. Go, what is that? E flat, right? So E flat, and then we're going to want to go F. Okay, F. You know, let's give an accent to that guy too. Why not? And then we'll do another rest. Let's do G. And then let's do A sharp. Why am I doing this? I'm getting so turned around here. Okay, yeah, there we go. Sorry. And then we'll do B sharp as well, or B flat. It's A sharp, but okay. So next we're gonna go up an octave, and I'm pretty much gonna do the same thing. So we'll do one more high, and then I'll do some rests. Sure. So let's just run that as is right now. So we have basically 3 octaves worth of C minor programmed into the sequencer. And so the next thing we're going to want to do, I'm going to go ahead and reset it. So if you hold the KB and the step buttons together, it brings up another mode. Make sure I got that right. And I'm going to hit 4. And what that's going to do, hopefully, is play these notes randomly. Let's take a listen. switch to a square wave. Let's add the drone in. There you go. We've got a semi-generative patch. I think obviously what it needs is a lot of reverb on there. Just kind of get this a little more too. All right, so we've set up our semi-generative patch. It's playing in C minor over randomly choosing notes that I programmed in between rests and 3 octaves of the C minor scale. We've got our drone. So the one thing I think that the Moogs lack is some good effects. They're very cool. I mean, they're analog. They sound amazing. But I think when they really start to sing is when you have some effects. And that's why I bought the Zoya. That's why I could run it through my DAW. So I wish they were on board or a little easier to access, but that kind of lets you add your own flavor, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to throw some reverb on here. I'll probably use Valhalla Supermassive, and I'm just going to pick some random presets. And let's see if we can play the drone and bring in our semi-generative patch here on top of it. I think that's probably going to do it for today. We'll just do a little jam session. In the next episode, I'm going to hop over to Deluge and I'm going to start giving this a little more structure by adding a beat, maybe adding some more melodic things that aren't completely random. And then lastly, I'll probably hop into the Subharmonicon to just kind of bring it all together with some cool polyrhythms or something like that. At least that's my plan for now. These songs are funny, you know. I have an idea to do something like making a drone on the DFAM or making a semi-generative patch on the Mother 32, and I just see where they lead me. So right now, that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. But for now, thanks for joining me. If you dig what I'm doing, make sure you hit that subscribe so you can keep up with the next episode where we keep building this song out and see where it goes. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. I hope you learned something. Let's do a little jam session, see what we can do. All right, here we go.